I thought about this yesterday. I'm going to tell this story.
We have to.
Yeah.
You have no choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is something I've been holding on to for a while now.
We've teased it in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to...
You got to give a little more backstory.
I'm giving everything.
All right.
Give it all.
I went to Intermediate School 34. IS 34 in Staten Island, New York, for middle school. Okay. There was a teacher there. His name was Charles Mitri. His friends called him Charlie.
Not Chuck?
He's not a piece of dog food.
Okay.
I never had him. I never had
He was never
Mr. Mitri.
your teacher.
But I was in the room next door to his for my history class every day in the 7th grade. My friend Mike was in Mitri's class and loved this man. Now, Mitri was an interesting character.
He's the only person in the world to ever love this man.
I agree.
I had his class too. I was in his class.
You knew Mitri.
I had
Everyone I know
history.
who ever had Mitri tortured him and abused him.
I never
Okay.
abused him. I actually felt a lot of sympathy for the
Mitri
man.
was probably in his 40s at the time. He loved playing guitar. He loved rock and roll. He had a horrible speech impediment. He talked like Beth. He would write his own songs.
One would say he might have been special needs.
He was a teacher. He was a history teacher. He loved history. Absolutely loved history.
He was a teacher, but he might have been.
He would have loved the show.
Might have been.
Yeah,
special.
probably.
Might have been a little bit on a spectrum.
He would wet his pants
Yeah.
on an almost daily
Every day.
basis.
At school as a teacher.
Yeah.
While playing guitar.
Around middle school students.
Yes.
You're asking to be abused.
Yes.
And as far as I know, he was very much not well liked by the faculty at the school. Okay?
Can't imagine why.
So for whatever subject Mr. Mitri was teaching, he tended to write a song about it. And then he would perform it in the class. Now, I didn't have the class, but I know all the songs because I was in the room next door. So I would hear all the songs. You sing, yes, you'd play sign, everywhere, signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can't you
remember it
see the
vividly.
sign? So, like, and he would hand out the lyrics to the songs
Yeah.
to the class.
read along.
So he wrote one about the Vikings.
Yeah.
And it was called Thrashing Oars. And he would go, thrashing oars forevermore, Viking ships. And then he'd point at the class, upon the... And he'd wait. And the kids would have to go, sure.
Yep.
So one of his songs was called Last Man Standing. And Last Man Standing was about the Alamo.
Yeah.
And it went like this. Last man standing, surrounded by these Mexicans. That's the part I remember. Right. And it went on like that.
I got it.
How
was he allowed to?
Yeah. So
Keep going.
8th grade. No, still 7th. No, 8th grade.
It goes to
8th grade. There was a girl in the school. I'm not going to say her name.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Let's call her
Liz.
Liz. Okay. Liz, I had known. She was in my 4th grade class. I'd known her for many years. Right around 6th grade, Liz got absolutely giant tits. Okay. Some of the biggest tits you ever seen.
For
Especially-
6th grade.
Especially on a 13-year-old, right?
Yeah.
One day, I don't know what happened here. I don't know if it's true, but
There were allegations.
There was some
she went
allegations.
to the principal and said that Mitri grabbed her tits.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there was an investigation, and Mitri got fired, swearing up and down he did not grab her tits.
That's what he told us in class.
Yes.
he told you guys.
Literally said you're going to hear things. They're not true.
Yeah.
It was like, great. And then he gave us a pizza party where he would lick his fingers and hand out the pizza. Nobody ate the pizza. He would take the first
Oh,
slice,
so
put
wait,
it down.
I love
be like,
that
and hand
you
it.
both have different perspectives because you're in the class.
I'm in the
above
class
of
next
him.
door. Yeah.
You're in the class above Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting psychopath shit going on.
So, so Mitri's fired now. Goes into exile. My friend Mike, who loved Mitri, loved all his stories, loved stories about being in this band Blotto, and loved his music, loved talking to him about like classic rock and metal. He would keep up a correspondence with Mitri for years to come. They'd write emails to each other and kind of developed a real friendship over time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very nice of
They
Mike.
never stopped talking. Every so often, because Staten Island, as much as it is a suburb of New York City, and there's probably more people living in Staten Island than there are in Montana,
There's more. There's
yeah.
almost 500,000 people.
Yeah.
It's more than the population of Pittsburgh.
it's still
Yeah.
kind of like a small town.
It feels
Yes.
that way.
We all know each other.
Yeah. I would run into Mitri on the street every so often. One time I saw him walking through my neighborhood and I went, Mr. Mitri. And then he spun around and he went, Michael? He doesn't know who I am,
Yeah.
right? He just
Well, it's just a long.
he was just
hair at the
hoping to see
time.
Michael, my friend,
Yeah.
who was not with me at the time. I'd see him in like supermarket parking lots.
We saw him in the supermarket.
Yeah. And like occasionally I'd talk to him, just be like, how you doing? One time my mom, who was a manager at Applebee's New York, Mr. Mitri walks in, tries to get a job at Applebee's. My mother interviewed him. And he was so fucking fucked up and bizarre that they could not hire him. It just wasn't going to work. But yeah. So now let's fast forward a little bit.
Yep.
Now
You guys are in your 20s.
I'm
right?
18.
Oh, 18. All right. I thought you guys
Yeah.
were a little.
We
older.
were in our 20s.
Yeah, I was like 18, 19 years old, something like that. I'm in college now.
Angie, the college years.
Yeah. The brief time I was in college. Mike calls me up and he says, Mitri has contacted me one night only. He's going to the Muddy Cup. The Muddy Cup is
It's a bar.
it's a bar, coffee shop
lounge,
/ music venue
Very
on
small.
the North Shore of Staten Island.
Very small.
He's going to perform. We need to go to this. This is what he says to me. And I said, looks like I'm cutting school. We're going to see Mitri. So me, Mike, the P-Man, if you're familiar with the show, you know who
Yes.
the P-Man
Yeah.
is, and the P-Man's brother. Those two guys,
Don't know.
no fucking clue who Mitri is other than what they've heard from Mike and me.
which
Right?
is high praise.
Yeah. We go to see Mitri. We pull up outside the place. He pulls up in a broken down car from the 90s. And it's got a rag for a gas cap. It doesn't have a gas cap. And he gets out and he's rocked out. He's like wearing the leather. He's got his guitar. And we go up and say hello. He says, oh, Mr. Mitri, how you doing? And he goes, I'm not your teacher anymore. Call me Charlie. And Pat, the P-Man, goes, how about Chuck? Can we call you Chuck? And he goes,
Of course.
I'm not a piece of dog food. Call me Charlie. So what do you
What a
play?
line.
So where's your band? What are you guys playing tonight? He goes, no band, just me. Solo electric.
Solo electric. My favorite fucking phrase. Solo electric.
Yeah.
He has
So-
to say electric because he only played acoustic for the kids.
Pat's brother turns to me and he goes, did he just say solo electric? Now, if you're not musically inclined, let me explain something to you. You can't do solo electric. That's not like how you do songs.
You do
Like, it's
acoustic.
just gonna be noise. Yeah.
You're supposed to do solo acoustic.
Now, this date just so happened to coincide with Game 2 of the 2009 Yankees World Series.
Okay.
No, actually, no. I'm sorry. I think it was the winning game. It was the game where they won the World Series.
Really?
So that you can give the exact date. Um,
And you guys don't give a shit.
no, we don't care.
Yeah,
We're not sports fans. We don't give a shit. We're here to watch Mitri.
But
So-
the rest of Greater New York does.
So we walk in, and he says to us, "I'm so glad you guys are here, because when
Aw.
I heard the Yankees were playing tonight, I thought, oh boy." That's-
This event took place November 4th,
Yeah,
2009.
2009, November 4th, 2009, a date that will live in infamy.
The
Oh, yeah.
Yankees beat the Phillies 7-3 to win the World Series.
We walk into the venue, and there's no one there, not a soul.
Ugh.
It's us, the four of us, and Mitri. There was a couch in the place, so we sat down on the couch, the four of us,
It's almost like Friends.
and I watched this man do like the epitaph of his own life on stage for 2 hours.
You're missing some details.
I'm not done.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
He performed some of his hits from the classroom. He did.
Yeah.
He did Last Man Standing. He did
All
Thrashing
solo
Horse,
electric.
Solo Electric. He can't play. Either he never knew or he had forgotten how to play guitar, because he's just making sounds on stage, completely unmusical sounds.
It's a crime this
He
wasn't filmed.
Didn't know the lyrics to and he did a slew of covers, like all classic rock covers. Like we're hearing The Who, we're hearing Zeppelin, we're hearing
Kind
fucking
of.
Hotel
the
California.
Rolling Stones,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Eagles,
yeah.
all that shit.
But
He
you
didn't
can't
know
play.
lyrics, and he would flip the page. He had a music stand with a book of lyrics on it, and he would
Oh.
just flip pages. So he stopped playing to flip pages. It's very
Oh,
unpleasant to
that's
watch
so
something like
good.
that.
That's
He
so
also had a cold.
This is this is my favorite part. 'Cause
So-
it's so grotesque.
Watching him play his heart out.
Didn't the P-Man's brother have to walk out? He couldn't take it.
We're watching him play his heart out, and snot starts coming out of his nose.
I have to
mid-song.
say, he doesn't have a cold, by the way.
Whatever's wrong. I don't know what's
That
wrong.
was a regular basis thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm watching as he plays fucking like Won't Get Fooled Again. Right? And he's singing his song, and the snot is just coming lower and lower and lower, and it hits his lip, and he just goes and just eats
Sucks
that
it.
up.
Ugh.
Just fucking gets it. Absolutely
Ugh.
grotesque.
It was all the time.
Played a full set 1 hour. We're like,
Solo
thank God
electric.
we did that. It's over. Let's be
You did
polite.
your
We'll
good
say
deed.
goodbye.
Did a good deed.
And we walk outside. Chris,
P-Man's brother.
P-Man's brother, we got to get the fuck out of here. We got to get, because Mitri said to us, hang out. I'm going to see if they'll let me play another set. And Chris is begging. We got to get out of here. This is too fucking weird. This is too bizarre. We got to get out of here. Mike is like, I can't.
Yeah.
I gotta be here, because also in with the old songs and the covers, he had some new songs, and they were all about him stalking a woman. So there was a woman. He told us all this on stage.
He told us in person.
He met her online. She moved to California. He showed up at a house in California. She told him to go home. He's going back. This was his big farewell. He was leaving New York forever. He's going to go to California to be with this woman.
Who had told him to leave.
And one
Yeah.
of the songs he wrote, she wrote a blog post or like a Facebook post, something like that. I don't know. This might have been before Facebook. I don't know. But she wrote like a Zanga maybe about losing a loved one. So he wrote a whole song about losing a loved one
Okay.
and what that means and what is this. Later found out it was her dog. Right. So, sure enough, he got the approval for the second set since there's no one else there. So we sat for another hour.
Solo electric.
2 hours of solo electric. It's the weirdest night of my whole life. I think about it often. I absolutely adore this memory.
Now, if
Right.
Chris waited outside the entire second set.
No,
If I remember. Oh,
No.
I thought he was like hiding.
he did try for a little while and he gave up and came back in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
We left that night thinking we would never see him again because he was going to California. About, I don't know, 5 months later, I'm with Steve.
we saw him.
We're at 7-Eleven in New Dorp, and we see him walking through the ShopRite parking lot across the street.
Yeah.
And we fucking ran him down. And we
Mr.
were like, Mitri has no memory of me.
Doesn't know you.
Doesn't know who I am.
You were at his
Yeah,
last.
I was at his last show.
I was his student.
And he looks just terrible. He looks like
He looked
skin and
disheveled.
bones. Yeah.
He looked like he'd been through the rain.
Yeah, he was always a big dude, and
Yeah. He was thin.
yeah. And I'm like, what happened with the girl? And he told me I went out there and she found some other guy, and he had to come back.
But there was a silver lining. Do you remember the silver lining?
What was the silver lining?
About the followers.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
He said that the guy that took his place was losing followers every
Yeah.
day. He's also a
Yeah.
musician.
Social media followers.
Yeah, so he's losing
on
social
Facebook.
losing social media's followers by the day.
Yeah.
Mitri gaining 4
Gaining
female
fans
followers every
day.
day.
Every day.
4 female fans a day.
He's losing 2 fans a day. Dimitri's gaining 4 females a day.
Yeah.
That's
That's-
like
and that's just
his
how it is.
trajectory. And we were like, what?
Over the next year, I think I saw him about 3 times around. Like I would go to, because now we're older, we're going to bars
Yeah.
and stuff. I'd see him at bars. Here and there, nothing much to tell there until one night I'm working at the Bees. Okay. I'm wiping a table down. I'll never forget this moment. I'm wiping a table down, and the people sitting at the table next to me, as I'm, wiping it down,
Yeah.
I'm listening to their conversation. And one of them says to the other, hey, did you hear that teacher that got fired from IS-34 all those years ago is dead? And my heart sinks. I'm like, no, it can't be. So I get up, I'm like, are you talking about Mitri? And they're like, yeah, he's dead.
And you're like,
And I'm like,
what?
no.
Eh.
And sure enough, his obituary is in the paper that day. Apparently, he had been dead for like 2 weeks, and they just found his body in his house.
No one knew.
Sitting in a chair. Not a friend in the fucking world. His obituary is out there. You can look him up, Charlie Mitri. I've done it over the years. I've gone back to it.
Yeah.
Yep. Read about his life. He had a brother. Just the saddest soul in the
So
world.
sad. But Mike was his friend.
Mike was his friend. Mitri.
I remember like profoundly affected like you, Mike, and Pat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was just like this important thing was that
Mhm.
show.
Yeah.
And just knowing this man's story for so long.
It was probably the last show where he felt somebody appreciated him.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did a good deed.
He
Only
the day
left
that Lane
Alan
Staley died
Well, it's still comical.
from Alice in
Yeah.
Chains,
Uh-huh.
the day Lane Staley died, who died in a very similar way, just alone in his apartment, probably been there a couple of weeks. The day we all found out about that, I was talking with Mike outside of Mitri's classroom. This was in 2002.
Yeah.
And Mitri came out and I had a conversation with him about it. And then his death mirrored that. And it always
a
like
little
resonated
weird.
with me.
Yeah.
On like my 3rd date with my wife, I told her this entire saga.
And she's like, this is
And
the
she
man I'm going to marry.
She kept waiting for the happy, like funny part. And it never came. And I'm laughing my ass off telling the
It's
story.
here now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is funny, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And she's like, what the fuck?
How did she marry you? Let me tell you a sad story about a man who died alone and alone.
We laughed at him constantly.
This
till
may
his
be
death.
me if this doesn't work. What do you say, Toots?
Charlie Mitri. Wherever you are,
Rest
sir,
in peace.
I love you.
Rest in peace.